Well, at this point, 6 o'clock, I will call this meeting to order. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? At this point, I'd like to ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Settlemeyer.
Here.
Commissioner
Here.
Commissioner Riles.
Present.
Chair Robinson.
Present.
Commissioner LaGrasse. Commissioner LaGrasse, can you hear us? Okay. Commissioner Winterrode. And Commissioner Ingman.
Here.
Next up is the approval of minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
I have a quick question. So I noticed that in the minutes, the names of the votes for chair are mentioned, but we voted by secret ballot. Is that standard?
Yeah, in the instructions that we read, that it was a ballot, but that they would be disclosed in the minutes.
Understood. Thank you.
Do we hear a motion about the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Very good. Business from the public. I don't think we... Oh, I can't see anybody, but yes, please. I see the cursor moving. Mr. Jackson, can you hear us? Should we wait to make sure everyone online can participate, or shall I ask Lisa to come up?
Jane, can you hear us?
Possible for us to.
No, because we're just here as a member. In there.
I can hear you now.
Oh, very good. We can't see you, but we can hear you now.
Did you ask a question? I'm on the road, so I didn't hear anything.
Oh, sorry. No, we're ready for business from the public, and I believe you are up at bat.
Oh, okay. Honestly, I don't have anything right now. I know that we'll be coming up and talking about things for May, and if there's anything I can do to help anyone on the committee with that, let me know. Be glad to do whatever we can to promote everything.
All right, very good. I think we're going to be talking about that in just a moment, so we'll maybe come back to you.
Thank you.
Lisa?
Good evening. Lisa Grotto, Albany Downtown Association. Going to do a quick downtown update for you. Our partners at the Albany Civic Theater have a new play. It's called Eclipsed. And so that started on the 1st and goes through the 9th. Albany Taps and Caps is a fundraiser that we do in partnership with Furniture Share, which to get kids off the floors and onto beds, and also to help veterans returning. That's coming up on Saturday, April 6th. We're going to have our downtown Easter egg hunt. It's actually posters, but the kids go around downtown and look at all the historic buildings and look in the businesses. That's starting on March 16th. Our Meet the Neighbors this month is to do with all our coffee cafes. So that has highlights on Brim Coffee Company, Margin Coffee Roasters, and the new owners at Sidekicks. If you haven't been down there, that's the one down by Depot Fish and Chips and the Amtrak. Our volunteer spotlight highlights our president, Matt Wadlington. Tons of events, an entire page of events. And the Albany Visitor Association photo contest deadline is March 8th. So I believe that's this Friday at 5 p.m. So if you haven't submitted your favorite photos of Albany and surrounding areas, I encourage you to do that. There's a new category this year for downtown Albany. So we're excited to get additional downtown photos. And there will be a People's Choice portion of that voting that they'll announce and the format of that soon. So if you missed First Friday, there'll be another one next month. This last one was our Pot of Gold, and the next one will be a Spring Fling. And the one after that, if anybody cares what's going on in May, that will be the Rotary Wine Walk, and then we'll be doing things as well with that. Other things I think you already know about with Historic Preservation Month. Many of those Oscar Holt does at the Natty Dresser, and I'm sure you'll be covering that later. But I'll be present if you need me for anything. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Did we have anyone else pop in online?
I think Rain checked back in. Rain, can you hear us?
I have been able to hear you the whole time, but I couldn't get my video or my audio on my laptop, so I moved to my phone. I am
Okay.
here.
Awesome.
Good. Let's move on to business from the staff.
All right, so the Cumberland Church update, Liz emailed. She said that the meeting was really interesting. It was fascinating to observe the process. They ultimately received recommendation to the National Register, so I think it goes to the national process. I think they were asked to just flesh out some more information about the move of the structure. So if you look online, it says approved with revisions, probably. Something along those lines, but they are being recommended to move forward with actual listing. So that went really good for them. And she said she was also surprised she was the only person who was just doing it as a citizen. The rest of them were professionals in the industry. So thought I'd pass that on. Next is David with the final draft surveys.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah, so last meeting I handed out copies of the draft surveys for each of you. And if you have comments or revisions or suggestions, I'd sure like to collect those before we leave tonight so we can make those final updates and get those out hopefully by the 1st of April.
Any questions on the surveys? Okay.
Obviously a smashing success then. Thank you.
Historic Preservation Award nominations?
All right, so does anybody have any residential, commercial, historic preservation renovations that they'd like to recommend for an award? Then our other category that may or may not get anything would be somebody dedicated to historic preservation. So we're just looking for nominations tonight. I kind of put together a slideshow last time so everybody could see what we were talking about before we voted. Did anybody get a chance to think about that? Yes, Bill.
I have a nomination that I just became aware of since the last meeting. It's infill in the Hackelman. It's on 326 6th Avenue, just kind of over by the pool and behind the firehouse.
Oh, we
It's
got-
a little craftsman bungalow, and it's a new build in infill in the district, which we don't get a lot of those. And it's a tight little lot, but she's done a very nice job. Her name is Patricia Rogers, and it's 326 6th Avenue Southeast. And you can feel welcome to drive by it. It's coming along, and you can see it pretty well. And and there's some really nice interior work being done on it. A really neat stairway and some neat trim inside.
Okay.
It's a great example of a little infill that can be done. It's just a couple bedrooms. It's a tight little bungalow. But anyway, I think it's worth nominating for an award. We don't get a lot of those little infill buildings.
That's excellent. I couldn't think of any residential, but yet I've been walking by and looking at the progress on that house. So
Yeah, it's coming along.
good call.
So I've got two nominations.
All right.
One is 328 Ferry. That is the multifamily on the corner of Ferry and what is that, Third? That was heavily damaged by fire started by fireworks.
Yeah, one right out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And that one, all the windows they put back on it are like basically look like the original, and it looks really good. And then the other one I have is Albany Fire Department for the restoration of their 1925 sea grave.
All right. Does anybody have any commercial?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall, but I'm getting older. The first hand on, no, what is it?
First-hand seconds.
First hand seconds. Have we given that an award?
We have not.
They came to us last year for historic review, so I think this is the first time we'd really be seeing the whole thing.
Yeah, I think some people are not too sure about the sort of neon stuff, but I think they've done a nice job.
I've had several people ask me, how did you let that get through? It's original.
Well, we didn't, I mean, the lighting and the colors of it supposedly historically had neon on it.
And they brought it up
Yeah.
in front of us.
So
It was surprising.
a little surprising for people.
And-
I think it's fun.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah,
the,
I mean,
the neon.
I think the first time it was surprising, but now it just looks nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I would nominate that for an award.
Related to that, I know we sometimes recognize contractors and individuals, and I was thinking that we may have recognized Christina Larson and her firm before.
Yeah, I think we recognized them last year.
Did we recognize Pyburn and Sons?
Yeah, we also did them.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a huge award.
Extravaganza.
Yeah, because we missed out on a couple years, I think, due to COVID. So we were like, all the awards.
It's hard because we kind of have the usual suspects, you know, as far as some of the important work that's being done, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be recognized when they complete additional projects.
Yeah, I mean, if we wanted, we could award them specifically for a project. Like if we feel like there's a certain one that was really outstanding.
Yeah, if we give an award to that building, I think it would make sense to just give the award to the owner, the contractor, and the architect together. And then they could all be here as a team and get the thing. I think that makes the most sense.
I concur.
So-
Any other nominations?
Yes, we did. A Lifetime Achievement Award for, that was not that long ago, 3 years ago, maybe right before the pandemic, I think. Right after maybe it was 5 years ago, whatever. Right. Yes, we did.
Just circling back. So with the first hand seconds, we want to award Pyburn and Sons and Christina Larson / Veritone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the owners,
Yeah.
Mercy House.
What about the Cumberland Church Group? Is it Is the timing right to
did
do that, or did you
something.
already?
We recognized them in the last
We
year or the year
recognize them for
before.
starting and for moving the building or something, and I think we're kind of waiting until typically we wait till it's pretty close to done, so that when,
Till the restoration's done?
yeah, so
Okay,
then
okay,
people
that
can
makes
visit
sense.
it and all that
Sure,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I think we gave them a commercial award last year. We kind of lumped in commercial and institutional, if I
Yeah,
remember right.
I think we mentioned the moving, just saving it and moving it kind of
Mhm.
award, but not really opening it yet.
Any people we want to award, or do we just want to kind of circle that in with the projects?
The only one I can think of is me. I'm retired. And I've never gotten an award. And I've got about 8 buildings downtown.
We're not done with you yet.
Hmm?
We're not done with you yet.
Oh, I see. Yeah, whatever.
Let us know when your last year is, and then we'll get you a lifetime achievement.
Yeah, I'm not.
We'll probably have you write it too.
That would be perfect. I'm not leaving yet. You can't get rid of me that easy.
Nominations closed.
Sure. So I'll put together a little slideshow for us next month. We could just award it to everybody if we wanted to go that route, or we can do a competitive award process. Either way is fine. But at the very least, I can put together a slideshow so everybody knows kind of what we're looking at. All right. And then on to the fun stuff, planning for Historic Preservation Month. All right. So for me, I got in contact with the Parks Department. They are willing to run some interpretive walks through the apple orchard on North Albany Road. The name is eluding me right now. That's where they have the apple species that turned out to not be extinct. They did say, however, that the trees are going to be pruned fairly close to when we're talking about doing it in Historic Preservation Month. So David and I were talking, we thought that we might want to consider doing summer for the event. I think I mentioned last time that Benton County and Corvallis were getting pretty jam-packed with historic preservation activities, and they thought it would be a good idea to do kind of a historic preservation season through summer, because we also do have tours during the summer as well. And so if we do the apple orchard tour in the summer, the trees are probably going to look better. These ones are apparently going to look pretty sparse because they're going to be pruned. So that's a thought. You also have a better chance of good weather if you do it in the summer.
Well, the other thing is the ground may be drier. Depending on when it rains, the ground may be hit or miss.
Yep. And then one logistical thing we noticed is there's not really any parking at the park. So not too sure how we want to do that. Are we thinking still interpretive hikes where we go as a group, or maybe we can develop some signs and somebody can do a self-led tour?
You know, just a thought, but why not?
That would be an option. The other thing is, could we use a city trolley bus? So you'd have park and then start to turn on a trolley bus, let them off on site.
Yep, I can explore that one.
And the school.
Yep, the school.
I think we can get over the parking hump, but yeah, the trolley is not a bad idea if we want to, meet at the Monteith House, or for those who don't want to drive.
All right, so that's what I've got on that one. So we have the window preservation workshop that we can choose to fund. So we are right in the middle of our certified local government grant award. It has been applied for and reviewed. I don't know how much money we're getting, but it's in the ballpark of potentially $15,000. Chris was back here in January talking about the window workshop that he wants to do in collaboration with the Cumberland Church. I think he was looking for somewhere around $8,000 to $9,000. I think that is, we'd budgeted closer to $7,000 or $8,000 for educational activities for this cycle, because we also wanted to do a lot of awards for the pass-through grants to property owners. But I'm curious what we're thinking about the window workshop.
So I think it's a great program. I think that he has tapped a lot of larger sources for funding and been successful at that. I'm not completely opposed to us helping, but I also think it's sort of something this workshop sounds like it's serving people from around the country. I don't know that our CLG money is best aimed at that, but what are the other opinions?
I think we should use the amount that we actually discussed already and budgeted toward it, the $7,000.
Is the cycle a year or a quarter or
I would describe it as like a year and a half.
so it's longer than a year?
It's total a 2-year cycle, but we spend a couple months at the beginning and end basically doing paperwork to close it out. So our active cycle is through June of 2025.
I think that's a good point you raised about trying to pull in people from the larger area. I wonder if there's a way to provide funding for folks that work or live in Albany or homeowners in Albany and maybe keep it separate, not just give a chunk of money, but have it directed specifically towards Albany resources or people.
I mean, and let me ask you this to both of you. My priority for that money moves mostly towards the pass-through grants and educating local homeowners. However, do you have a feeling about the sort of demand we might be seeing in this cycle for the pass-through grants?
I have no idea. I know I get a lot of interest about the pass-through grants, but in the past, it's always been a match. So homeowners have to put up their own money. And there are several hoops to jump through when it comes with federal money. So they have to go through the state, they have to get their intended work approved. What I've seen in the past is we really only get like 2 or 3 that actually go through the full process. And they're usually not huge grants. But we budgeted, I think, $8,000 to $9,000 towards the pass-through grant because it's been a while since we've been able to do one and we wanted to prioritize that.
You know, let me know if I'm speaking out of turn, but can we reach out to the Albany, is it the Albany Christian School or the Albany Christian Church that has the Albany School, the Burgraff building?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We could talk to them and see if they would be interested.
It seems like that project has just been iced and communication has stopped.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not the most up on that one because our director is the one who's been chatting with them. We can reach out and let them know funding's available. We would still do a match grant because that basically doubles their money. We can see if they'd be interested. With that, they would either have to apply and be approved for use of substitute materials or do the exterior alterations and do wood windows.
I'd like to, mic isn't working, but I'd like to suggest that for any of these projects that it should be a competitive application process. That way you can all review them and decide which ones you feel merit funding.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think in regard to the Burgraff Old High School, from what I understand, unless things have changed, the windows that were removed were 1/1s that were like 8 feet tall and 3 feet wide. And just nobody makes them that we can find. And so that's why they had substituted sort of a 3-panel thing with the single hung below and a fixed panel above. And that's what sort of alerted everyone in the neighborhood that something was amiss. And they apparently didn't save the old windows when they took them out. And I think that's just where it's been stuck. No one is, it's sort of a standoff where either we come back to them and say, okay, we'll let you do what we stopped you from doing, or we found an option that allows you to do it, or and they're not coming back to us. As far as I know, they've just sort of boarded them up and that's where it stands. And it is not a good situation to leave it that way. And I haven't looked into it for probably 6 or 8 months. And sometimes manufacturers appear and, there are ways of finding it. I'll look into that again. I'll call a couple of window people to see if there's any, I have to go back and review my notes and see exactly what the size of those windows are. But it is something that I think about fairly often. It's like, I hate leaving that sort of unresolved. And it would be nice if we could find a solution then to offer that to help them out with some money. But first we have to find a solution, I think. I mean, we're sort of at an impasse still. If anyone knows more than that, can bring me up to date. Are you aware, Mason, of what's going on?
We're talking about in like the 1917 big high school, the Burgraff building, that there were some issues with the windows and the types of windows that were
Yeah,
used.
it's on
This was from
Railroad
before my
and-
time.
It's on
here on the
4th and
commission,
Railroad
but-
or something like that?
Yeah, I'm aware of the building and the controversy, I guess, that was surrounding the building. So I'm up to speed there. What are you saying? Are you saying that we should give them, funding and that they match that funding for
No,
the
but
renovating windows?
We could
or
maybe alert them that we're heading into a cycle where
the idea
they can
being that
apply, at least apply.
Yeah, maybe just say,
The
hey,
matching
there's some
funds.
money here. Have you guys found any solutions, or would you like to come back to us? Ideally, it's not us telling them what to do. I mean,
It's
we're
them coming
we're at advisory, so it's them coming to us, hey, we have this idea, how about this? So you can sort of use back channels to get that word to them, and I can do that as part of my asking around. I know someone who can, who knows them personally, they're members of their elders or whatever they're called, to find out where that sits.
that makes sense, I think. Yeah, that sounds like it makes sense to me.
I'll do a little investigation and let's touch on it next month. Oh, I'm not going to be here next month. I'm going to be headed to the eclipse in Indiana.
So there's no harm in letting people know that the money is going to become available. Preferably, as many people as we can tell would be the best outcome. Because we want to fund projects, and if people have renovations that they haven't been able to do because of funding, we want to be able to help out. So there's no harm in letting them know. I think the only thing I would caution is assuring people that we will fund their project.
Oh, certainly
I don't
not,
think we should
no.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly not. So can you give us an idea, maybe, I know we've talked about this lightly, of what we can do for outreach when we open that process?
So what David and I would hope to do is pretty much as soon as we know the money is available, we would start doing outreach. We would put something on the website. We can do mailers to everybody in the historic district. If we time it right, we can do postcards that talk about the survey and the pass-through money, potentially. Double up. So
That's
you're
a good
only
idea.
so you're only doing one mailing. So there's a number of ways we can do that. Basically spread the word. We could ask Lisa Grotto if she would put something in the newsletter, because we can also do commercial. So if there are people downtown, it doesn't have to be just residential. So commercial buildings would be eligible, things like that.
We'd be glad to put stuff on our website as well and do a blog maybe on what people can look forward to on that.
So what I've seen in the past is we did June for our selection process. And then once we've selected who we're going to fund with the pass-through grant, they have to go to SHPO and get their plan approved.
So June is obviously too late for vintage window restoration to let them know where we're at. But when do we know how much money we'll receive?
Probably between now and our next meeting.
So could we table this until the next meeting? Is everyone comfortable with that until we know how much money we have?
It's kind of hard to say what we're going to do until we know what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's entirely appropriate. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for the money. because the downside is we did budget for all of our preservation activities, all of our outreaches, the 7,000 to 8,000. So we had other things we wanted to do. So I just kind of wanted to take temperature of, are we thinking the full asking? Are we thinking partial? Because we can adjust accordingly. Yep.
Okay, very good.
Um,
Did we help you with that or no? Sorry.
I
Did
get
you
the feeling we're
feeling-
thinking not the full ask.
Okay.
That is the temperature I'm getting, but we don't know a firm number. I'm getting head nods. That works. So a couple other things we were thinking of doing. Chad, you and Cameron, we're going to touch base about doing a how to research your own property event. Last I heard, we were thinking maybe 2, do one in Historic Preservation Month, and then after the home tours in the summer, we maybe do another one to build off that momentum.
Yeah, so the plan is I'm working with some of the preservationists in Corvallis. We're going to have one of them, the first one, late in May, around May 2023 in Corvallis. And then after that, we'll develop a brochure. We'll have that brochure ready, and then hold one in Albany sometime early August so that we can promote it during the Historic Homes Tour. So we'll have the brochure available for the Historic Homes Tour. We can hand them out and go, oh, and if you're interested, we're going to give a talk in, yay number of days from now. So that's on track in the planning stages.
Awesome. And then the last one I had on the list, Kathy, you had mentioned wanting the professor from the Department of Fish and Wildlife to give a talk about the Pacific ecosystems of the native tribes in the area. So I just wanted some clarification on kind of what we were envisioning with that. So the library sometimes does lectures sometimes they're afternoon lectures, sometimes they're after work lectures. Is that something that would kind of be what you're thinking?
Sure, I think that would work. Unless there's a way to organize a field visit, but that might be really difficult with logistics and everything. But I think at the library would be a great place to have a talk.
Okay.
Late afternoon or whatever's typical.
I can reach out and see if we can get something on the schedule. For field visit, I have read that Bryant Park used to be a huge camas field, so maybe there's a potential there. It is really close.
Okay.
It's pretty accessible, so that's potentially something we could do as well.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I've seen photographs of kids digging up bones at Bryant Park.
Okay.
And so kids back in the day would set up their own excavation sites and just start excavating Native American artifacts. And I just think that's interesting and relevant to this discussion. A field, well, Brian is open. Monteith is the one that's under construction. And so it would be doable.
Yep. I mean, provided it doesn't randomly flood in the middle of May.
Yeah, it floods and then it's closed. Yeah.
We'll take.
Oh yeah. We will bail out Bryant Park back into the Willamette. Okay. So that's kind of the main focuses I had picked up from last meeting for Historic Preservation Month. Has anybody had any ideas that they wanted to pursue since then?
Not in addition to what we're talking about, but
Okay.
Is it too short a timeline for us to try to have the talk in May? Because it sounds like we've got stuff in the works for preservation, but not much of it's going to land in May.
I don't think it's too late to get it scheduled in May. I have to reach out and talk to them. I have a backup if they're not able to. So David Lewis is a member, I think, of the Siletz tribe or the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, one of the two, possibly both. And he does a very similar talk, less focused on the ecology and more of the peoples of the area. But I know he does a lot of talks, so that would be the backup.
Anyone that's willing to come and talk to us, I think we'll take. And there's someone at the Forest Service. They do regular prehistoric and cultural tours.
Mhm.
It's now I don't remember which office. It's not wholly relevant to Albany, but there might be someone there that would maybe be willing to do it as well. I could send you that
Okay.
information. Okay.
Yep. So,
Get samples of camas root for people to eat. I've never
But Camas blooms in May, doesn't it? Or is it June?
I am not positive. I have had
It might be
camas
June.
root, but that was just kind of provided at my class.
So I did talk to, I think I mentioned at the last meeting that there is a photographer in Albany who did a project he is referring to as the Oregon Trail of Tears. And he would be interested in talking to any audience. I think that we can bring together, whether it's in conjunction with the talk you're discussing or whether we hold that at another time.
He's a photographer?
Yes. Yeah.
Is he an indigenous person or?
He is not, his wife is.
His wife is. Okay.
And daughter. And he works in sort of, I'm going to say this wrong, but not silver plate, but it is a old form of photography.
Oh,
And,
okay. That would be interesting too.
Silver plate? It is plate? At any rate, he researched and tried to find some of the sites where they camped on the march from Southern Oregon, from roughly Jacksonville up to the Grand Ronde Reservation.
Wow.
And he has several photographs, but also he has a decent amount of research that he's done. I think it's a talk that he has given already, but I think it would be a worthwhile thing to discuss.
Sure. I can check and see. We'll probably just need to pick a venue. It could be another library talk. It's always available. They have those meeting rooms in the side next to the children's room that are just like good for talks.
Oh, the main library?
Yeah, the main library.
I was thinking the Carnegie Library.
The hours are inconsistent, so we could try, and maybe we could get them to be open special for a talk.
It's also not handicapped accessible.
That is another big thing too, yeah, is we do have an accessibility issue.
Got it.
So yeah, I can work on that. If you want to send me the contact information for the photographer, I can see what I can do for that. But yeah, I mean, I think we can get the talks off the ground for May.
Great.
I don't think that's an issue. Yeah.
All set for staff?
I think that's all I have, unless I'm forgetting another idea that somebody had.
talked about the Santiam. Melissa had talked last month about the Santiam Wagon Road and the Forest Service planning to do something to lecture on that or have interpretive panels, or what were they going to be doing?
All right, so they're still fleshing out the project. It sounds like it's going to be late September is what they're aiming for. But they are going to do basically a celebration of the Santiam Wagon Road, kind of revamp the experience. The end of September, they're having a big exhibition at the Fish Lake Guard Station, which is up near the Santiam Pass. They were gonna, I think they're talking about a blacksmith and things like that. They're hoping for interpretive hosts at the trailheads to talk to people about that. They're gonna do new interpretive signs, things like that. So they're still in the planning stages, but I think they've had several meetings. I'm hoping to get an update later today about how that is. My mom is actually part of the organization that's putting it together, so.
This might be really
Yeah.
when that comes up.
So I had talked to them. They were hoping to do display panels in August to build off that momentum into September for the event. So we do currently have nobody scheduled for the display for May. Just spitballing here, maybe your photographer would like to put something together. If not, we can reach out to Friends of Historic Albany and see if they want to put something together. So that is open. I don't currently have anybody slated for it. So I guess we can think about people we can reach out to about a display case, because we usually get the display case in May.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, staff. Business from the commission.
I got hired last week as a full-time teacher at AOS, Albany Options. Thank you all. I'm teaching a leadership class. And so I'm thinking maybe at some point, school's out in June. If paths cross and maybe we get some people from this commission in my classroom to give a little speech on their leadership in the town, I would appreciate that. And also I'm teaching US history, specifically contemporary issues of the 21st century. And I have 4 of those classes, so we can have some fun.
Congratulations. Thought I heard other mics. No? We kind of hit everything I wanted to hit during business from the staff as far as Preservation Month and what we're doing there and the CLG money. So if there is no other business from the commission, our next meeting date will be April 3rd, 2024. Yes, Alyssa.
Real quick, do you want to let everybody know we will have probably 3 land use hearings that day? They all came in at once, randomly on me. I could not get them to stagger. So get ready for that one. I will not spoil what you're getting.
I can't wait.
I'm going to be out of town for that meeting, but I plan to attend virtually. I'll be at a relative's house, so I can attend that way for the April meeting.
For the eclipse also?
I'm not doing the clip.
Okay,
The more the merrier.
more the merrier. Yep, we've got a bunch of fun ones. I've actually kind of forgotten which ones they are at this point, to be honest with you. I can't even spoil it if I wanted to.
Well, very good. If there is no further business, I call this meeting adjourned at 6:42.